All right. So, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to be joined by my colleague here from across the pond, Malik Khan. Welcome today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, John. Thank you for having me today. It's a wonderful pleasure to be in your company. So thank you for the invite.
Oh, yeah, ditto. I'm really excited to talk about this and talk about some of the amazing things that you're doing.
Okay, great.
So, I know. Why don't we just go ahead and start about how you came into traditional Chinese medicine? What led you in? I feel like everybody's got kind of a unique experience
Mm.
that has pulled them in towards this medicine.
Yeah, good question. A complex answer, really. I wouldn't say there was one thing. I mean, there was a number of things, but there was, I guess, there was something always pulling me towards TCM from a young age in Chinese culture. From a young age, I think at the age of 10, 11, I was fascinated with the martial arts, Bruce Lee. But before Bruce Lee, there were these other, there was subtitled on TV. I used to watch those programs, and I used to find great joy, even though I couldn't understand what they were saying in Chinese, obviously. And it was late at night, and it was the only programs I used to watch. So I had a kind of like inkling or uh, like a stepping stone into Chinese culture. So that was the first step, I'd say. And then obviously we all heard of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon and whatnot, and so again that fascinated me, with their culture and their sort of outlook towards life. And must say that at school I was bullied a bit as well. So Bruce Lee attraction was not that I was Bruce Lee anyway at all, but yeah. So but anyway, it just from there it sort of started off. I didn't have any, I'd say, biases towards the Chinese, or Chinese culture. I'm open-minded, and so, but I had an attraction towards them. And later in life, many things happen, and I think I had a few, my background's in IT and analysis and consultancy, quite a complex area to go into, but it was well paid and fantastic career and fantastic sort of can go throughout the world, travel and whatnot. But there was always something missing and lacking, and as well as some health issues I encountered, and then face to face I had some alternative therapy because standard therapy wasn't working. So I went along, had some acupuncture. It really helped. So that was good sort of sign. I didn't really like their herbs, their raw herbs. That was a horrible experience. Um, so yeah, so and then I had sort of family problems as well. Family health issues. Okay, and that sort of like led me toward perhaps investigating more. So because family issues, with their health and chronic issues, and they weren't getting any answers from standard Western medicine, and so that basically, forced me to sort of research more, and and I went to Indonesia as well. Okay, and we encountered a lady there. Okay, right, amazing, and she did this sort of biophysical acupuncture. And I'm watching her with a room full of, these rooms are massive rooms. They're probably,
Okay.
I can't think of size, but massive sort of rooms. And you've got loads of people waiting to see her. And it took me 2 to 3 hours just waiting, sitting there to be seen. Um, people in wheelchairs, etc., and should take people in bunches of 5 to see her in a room when the treatment was taking place. And I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, this is real. Okay, what's happening? And obviously I couldn't speak their language, but the person I'm with is having the treatment done. And again, I'm doubting what she's doing. And she said in her language, move over a bit closer, which I did. She put her hand on my forehead. I got this most awful electric shock.
Huh.
Unbelievable. And that's what she was doing. She was applying, I don't know what it's, some sort of qigong or whatever, you know, some sort of bioelectric in her hands, and using that with acupuncture.
Yeah.
These people, especially suffering stroke, a lot of people were there with stroke issues, you know, wheelchairs and paralysis, whatnot. And all the while I'm thinking, is this real? Am I dreaming? You know, but and then I went to a few sessions, and I met this lady, happened to be an air hostess with Indonesian Airlines, and she was in the room as well, and she spoke English. It was brilliant, and she explained to me that why she was there, and she had fallen, I think, she had some injury in the bathtub, and she couldn't move, and she was laid off work for 6 months. She couldn't move at all until a sister had told her about this acupuncturist, and not because her standard treatment didn't work, standard, you know, hospital treatments didn't work. So she went along, thought, let me just have a go, and within, I think, a few months, she could walk again, and she couldn't believe it, and yeah, so those were some of the signs, you know, and some of the experiences I've had, and then as well as my own practical experience, seeing people getting better, um, and then for my own family member who's had a, you know, pretty bad sort of issue, which we're still looking and still, you know, finding and digging and, you know, searching. So those were sort of like, I would say, and there's many other things as well, but they were, you know, the starting points, you know, and realization that these things, you know, there are things out there that can help you if you're ill and sick. You know, just don't rely on just drugs and surgery and whatnot. And yeah, so those are some of the things. What else? Yeah, and obviously I studied Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. After I had to witness it firsthand, being honest with you, I couldn't really get into it until, you know, I saw the proofs in the pudding. You know, unless I saw it firsthand, witnessed it, you know, myself and others. So then I did this standard, you know, degree course, standard sort of like, you know, diploma courses, and just got into it. It's taken, it's took about at least 6 years of hard study to get to where, you know, to the end result.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's I know, probably a short question, but a long answer and a bit complicated. Sorry if I kind of.
It was wonderful. Yeah, I think that personal connection. I don't know about your experience. In the time that I have been a practitioner, I still, even to this day, remain very skeptical on many things. And then once I see them, see the responses by patients, see demonstrations with positive outcomes, then I'm really sold on it. But you know, I know acupuncture works. There's various types of it, but like you were saying, I have found personally that personal connection, whether it's, you know, seeing a family member get better or just really witnessing those amazing results, really validates some of the things that we're told just are simply not possible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I remember last year in the clinic, there was a lady that had, I mean, it's an awful state. She came in with her father in a wheelchair. She's in an awful state, basically. Various morphine patches, various injections, etc., and in a lot of pain. She's crying, and so she's getting acupuncture, and there's two practitioners at the time, and and she got pretty good relief after the first session. And as she's going, she sort of said, "Oh, I've got another issue she didn't tell about. You know, she didn't tell us about, and some pain on the hip area. And it was a bit too late to get the needles out. So I applied acupressure to a particular point, and it was just for maybe a minute or two, okay. And she got instant relief. And then when I saw her again 3 months later, she was coming in for regular treatments. And I asked about that particular problem, okay, and she said after we did what we did, she never had that pain again. And that was just through a
Wow.
finger in a
Yeah.
particular area. Now, if someone had told me, being honest with you, I'd say you're lying. That doesn't exist. Oh, yeah, I still can't believe it myself, you know.
Yeah.
After more than one, or case after case after case, you know, let's say you become a believer, but I'm still, yes, I'm a believer. I still always have a little bit of, because of I think probably the brainwashing from a young age, you know, or whatever. But yeah, it works. You know, I can't say it works in 99.9 every case, but majority of the times it works. And most importantly, there's no side effects. If anything, there's side benefits.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, so amazing.
That's a great term. And I think it's very interesting, your background as well, because many great acupuncturists have done a transition from kind of a technical field, like Richard Tahn, the late Richard Tahn. He had an engineering background. There's many other acupuncturists who have kind of come from, I want to say, like a very strict parameter thinking. But in my perspective, and I'll see what you think about it, I think it really helps because we're almost detectives, and you have to have that sort of critical thinking ability to help as a practitioner. Do you find that's very beneficial in your practice?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you mentioned, I mean, I've got to give credit to the late Dr. Tan. Amazing. I would say he's one in a million that comes around. There's many, no doubt, there's many good people out there, but in his field, he's one in a million. He didn't bring anything new as such, but he was able to simplify and codify using a, you know, computer language, codify in a way that we can really apply this beautiful medicine. And I must admit, I must give thanks to him. You know, I've never met him, okay, right? Seen his seminars, whatnot, and his books, etc. But yeah, he's you know, I would say that, you know, what we taught at school is fantastic, okay, right? It's all scholarly stuff as well. But sometimes you need the clinical side, which should really override the scholarly stuff. So you know, scholarly stuff is fantastic, and you know, it's good for, you know, book selling. But the clinical side, it's something, it's just a different level. And he was one of those people that brought the clinical side to a different level, you know. And you know, and yeah, I've got to give thanks to him, you know. So yeah, so. But yes, so your question about, we have to be like detectives, finding out the root cause, and if we can address or give the body the hints, it will fix itself. You know, we don't need to cut the body up. We don't need to drug it up with, you know, morphines or whatever, you know, painkillers. You know, if you give it the right nutrition, if you give it the right environment, if you give it the right tools, it'll fix itself. It wants to get better. It wants to get better. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know, industries out there that want to, you know, make money out of people suffering. Sadly, you know, it's laughable, but you know, the cost of people's lives, you know.
Sure. So I found a very interesting therapy that you offer at your clinic that you incorporate. I've heard of it. I have not seen it or utilized it myself. The pure wave therapy. Would you like to talk about that a little bit and what patients can experience with that?
Yeah. Well, I must give credit to one of my mentors, Jimmy Yen. It's an amazing sort of chap. What I mean, he suggested that to me, because, you know, if you do, you can apply Tuina, which is a Chinese type of massage, you know, Tuina massage, and really that takes a lot of you know, energies out of your thumbs, your fingers.
Yeah.
So if you use this tool, it's kind of helps, and it's at a fast and a higher rate as well. Essentially, what it does, it's a high vibration tool. So it breaks up scar tissue and allows blood to sort of basically flow more easily. So whereas it would take me maybe if I was to do between maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, with this tool we can do in eight minutes. It's obviously a professional, high-powered sort of tool that you that you apply over certain areas of the body depending on where the problem is, and it does get really good results.
Sounds fantastic. I think a lot of people really don't understand just the significance of blood flow and proper circulation to the right areas of the body, and how beneficial that can be for musculoskeletal problems.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, otherwise, are there, the term acupuncturist is very limiting. So as far as your practice, are there any specific areas where you like to focus? Any therapies? I see you do dietary counseling. Anything that patients should know, because people I find have very little understanding. You say, "Hey, I'm an acupuncturist." They're like, "Okay, you're a guy with a blowgun and you're shooting darts at me." Like, there's all these misconceptions of what that actually means. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the things you do in your practice. So I see the nutrition therapy in there. Would you like to talk about that a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. So the three key, I think I focus on a holistic approach. So I what sets me apart from the people living near or acupuncturists near myself is that I apply things from a holistic point of view. So it's not just the needles or the darts. Okay. So that's key, obviously, but the nutrition along with exercise is important as well. Okay, and herbs. Those three. There's other things as well. Okay, but those are the main three that I specialize in. So as well as the acupuncture, the herbs, and the nutrition. Now you can get fantastic results from acupuncture. And a lot of people, we deal with a lot of chronic pain and issues. So they'll come in with their backaches, their leg aches or knee aches or headaches, all the aches. And we all know, and everybody knows, acupuncture is amazing for those conditions. Okay, and they get pretty good results. Okay, right, and pretty fast as well. But so they can get those results, but if they go back to their lifestyle of doing what they did before, ate what they ate before, drunk what they drank before, what's going to happen? It's going to all come back. This is where nutrition is key as well. So we'll give dietary advice. Okay, we'll look at their lab work. Okay, we'll advise on certain blood tests to take. For example, in the UK, I'd say many people are vitamin D3 deficient. So I'd recommend that they go and take it, the test that is, and then take a good quality supplement for that. I wouldn't prescribe supplements for everybody, okay, or recommend for everybody, but certain ones we're lacking in. Most people are. So, and the blood test will give you that clue as to are they in that right ballpark range or not. So I'll incorporate that in the dietary consult, along with the acupuncture, along with the herbs. The herbs are amazing. Chinese herbs, they're not just Chinese herbs, they belong to the whole earth, basically. They belong to every people, really. But the Chinese were able to classify into their language, and they've got fantastic clinical results of thousands of years. So that's another tool in the toolbox that can help people. And acupuncture, well, it's from the Western point of view, it's one of the main ways we sort of help people with, and that gets pretty good results as well. So chronic pain issues we deal with daily, that's the common one. Dietary, people aren't really aware of the fact that we can help as well, but it's key. Herbs, amazing. Exercise is another one as well. So people need to exercise, whether it's just walking for 40 minutes, an hour a day, essential. Stretching. The Chinese had developed their own system called Qigong. Again, it's very gentle exercises, beautiful, but it requires a bit of technique to it. And if you don't have it, well, it doesn't matter. You can go and take a walk, basically, do some simple exercises. But we do have, I can show exercise. I do have some Qigong background as well. So yeah, so those are some of the things we do. So yeah, and my other main goal is to help. That's the main one, really. 100,000 people, okay, with their illnesses. So that's one of my. It's not my ego driving me there, but it's just that I know this medicine can help a lot of people. So I've set a target of 100,000, and if there's, and I specialize and I have a vested interest in helping people with stroke issues. So, and scalp acupuncture is another field which is very, very beneficial for those patients. And because I've had a vested interest, because I have a personal family member that's suffering from it, I'm willing to help anybody with that that don't have any financial means. Give me a call and we can arrange it free of charge. So don't worry about the cost on that aspect. I'm happy, more delighted, be honored to help anybody with stroke related issues with scalp acupuncture. Other than that, our standard things are chronic pain and issues and whatnot.
Wonderful. So basically, an individualized, holistic approach to treating patients, and I think a lot of people will appreciate the use of lab work too. I know a lot of people like seeing that and utilizing that as to whether you're supplementing, say, with D3. I think that will resonate with a lot of people very well. Yeah, it's fascinating. So let me see here. So we talked about that. Do you have, obviously with privacy in mind, do you have maybe like a favorite patient experience? Like, I know I can think of like some very unique things. We touched on a little bit, some of the amazing results you've seen. I know the acupressure thing you spoke of earlier. Do you have maybe just a situation with, obviously without divulging too much information, we don't want to give away the privacy of anyone, but just a situation that comes to mind that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Nearly, I'd say, majority of the patients I've found amazing results with. And okay, neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy. If you say that fast, it sounds funny.
Yeah.
So I've got to slow myself down. So I tend to think too bloody fast. Okay.
Yeah.
So peripheral neuropathy.
Yeah.
Right. Then again, we get some very, very good results with that. And we had, generally speaking, in our clinic, it takes more than one session really to get good results. Okay, the first one's just initial, and just investigative sort of process. But so this particular person hadn't had any. He'd lost sense of his feet. Okay, numbness in the feet for God knows how many years. I think he said 2 years, but I think it's longer than that. He's in his 90s. Okay, and so he said, "Oh, what can you do, Malik?" I said, all right, okay. And I knew him as well, okay, right? He's not too far from where small town, so you tend to know everybody kind of thing, right? And so he came along, laid in the couch, applied a few needles, not on his feet, mind you, on his hands, because this particular style was, thanks to Dr. Tan and company, it's slightly different to standard traditional textbook stuff. So applied this onto his hands, and within the first session, he got 50% feeling back.
Wow.
Now, now you tell me, isn't that? I mean, what tablet can do that?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's got to be a very rewarding feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing. And then there's another chap who had headaches, very chronic headaches for many years, and and I'd give him the treatment, and he'd say we had 3 treatments, and each treatment he was saying, he was saying, maybe it's not a good one to share, but he was saying that, oh, not much change, not much change. And then I dug a bit more deeper to the third treatment. He was 50% better after the first treatment,
Wow.
but I just couldn't understand why he wouldn't say that the first time without
Yeah.
having to investigate, drag it out of him. And then and then he wanted. But see, then he was recommending his wife as well. You see, I think, hold on, if it's not working, why are you recommending your wife? So, but then he admitted that I guess sometimes some people say certain things expecting you to perhaps to give them something extra, think that you'll something do extra magic and it'll
Yeah.
pop, But we don't practice magic. We simple biophysical stuff, cause and effect, So that's another one, and it's another favourite one I've got is a lady that used to suffer from phantom limb pain. Okay, and poor lady, beautiful lady. Okay, and she didn't have an arm, sadly, but she used to always feel a pain in that sort of in the stump. It's some sort of like it's moving or whatever. And I applied some of the balance system,
Hmm.
concepts, and after the other acupuncturists, I was working as a clinic where there's a number of the practitioners were working. They'd finished, but she was still having the pain, and and that phantom limb pain was still there. It wasn't going away. So towards the end of the sessions, I caught her as she's going, or she's about to get changed, and then applied this balance system method, just one needle in a particular part of the foot, okay. And lo and behold, it stopped. And she said, "What did you do? What did you do?" Okay. And that was wonderful. She was so, gobsmacked. And so that was another one. And there's many others I could, if I dug a bit more deeper. Headaches are a very good one as well. It responds really good and pretty quick as well. Um, but yeah, there's some sort of like chronic ones. Most of these cases, people are coming to us with things that they've had for 10, 20 years.
Absolutely.
So it will take a bit of time, time to get better. But yeah, so it's amazing, and it's always a great welcome when you see them getting better, and I find great joy in that. So
No, those are fantastic stories. And I think as practitioners, cases like that, like obviously we're not experiencing the phantom pain or the neuropathy, but we gain quite a bit of understanding of how much impact those conditions have on the overall quality of life for these people. And people that are not in medicine and don't see it, they just think, oh, there's someone that lost one of their arms, and obviously they see that physical side, but they don't really see how that plays into everything. Or if somebody says, I have peripheral neuropathy, they're like, oh, okay, so this guy's feet hurt occasionally and whatever. But I mean, these can be very extreme conditions where you can't sleep, where you're just in agony, hopelessness, all this mix of emotions and how that affects you. So I think that's really great that able to see that.
yeah, it's amazing. That's amazing. I wish that it was more mainstream, and you don't have to rely on referral. People just, doctors would readily, advise and prescribe and just have a go, and hopefully one day.
Yeah, we're I think the best we can do is things like this and bring awareness and
Yeah.
to put it out there, just put the energy out there, and eventually it will come to fruition.
Yeah.
I think more people are realizing that there are some better ways to do things, and including acupuncture for your treatment is definitely one of those for many cases.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we've covered several things here. One more thing, going back to when you started, that I found very interesting because it kind of appealed to me. I was a big martial arts fan growing up as well, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but for me, I've encountered many people at events that I've gone to that have almost thought of the practice of acupuncture as like a religion, which obviously it isn't. However, my feeling is, the yin and the yang, the fundamentals, there is definitely a deep philosophical principle to the practice, which governs, you touched on this, our herbal prescriptions. They have a yin and yang side that creates that harmony with them. And I think that's why there's a strong relationship between martial arts, where, say, you might need that internal balance in order to concentrate, focus, and apply that to, say, karate or whatever martial art you're doing. Um, would you like to elaborate on that a little bit more, the martial arts connection or the philosophy from your perspective?
Um, yeah, I haven't. I must admit, I haven't really. The land of the Chinese have always been very like sage orientated, very a lot of wisdom among them. That's, I think, one of the things that attracted me to them. Um, whether it's the invention of the paper, or whether it's the gunpowder, or whether it's all these great stuff, they've given the world so much, and the world, and I don't think they're really, um, and yeah, they had little squabbles, among their own, these little wars again among themselves. But they never generally went out and then invaded Africa, for example, or America, or Europe, or whatever. They just kept to their own little, the little lands, and people went there, okay, to trade or whatever, and they've always got a good deal out of it. That's why they, so they've always been a given. Uh, their philosophy, I think, is ingrained. You know, even when I watch their movies, for example, I don't understand, but it's such beautiful and gentleness, uh, and there's some sort of mystique in them. And they're very peaceful type people, very peaceful people. And I think maybe it's to do with their, I wouldn't say Buddhist, but their what's it, the Tao, or the Tao, but their philosophy, whatever the philosophy is, and it generally it's always been peaceful orientated. So I don't know too much. I never really got into that sort of aspect of it. But yeah, but I do know that there's a lot of wisdom from them, and a lot of, they've given the world a lot of good. Um, you know, of course we don't like the pollution with all the factories and whatever, but that's part and parcel of buying their products.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, but the way I approach it is that I know the acupuncture works, I know the herbs work, I know the qigong works. I told a lady, and this is another wow thing, that she's coming for some sort of like headaches, and she said, "Oh, Malik, can you help me with my tinnitus?" Now I must admit, tinnitus is one of those areas which I don't get a lot of great success with it, with acupuncture, that is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've had other acupuncturists asking me that they've got tinnitus, how can I get rid of it? And I came across this one of these books on Chinese medicine somebody recommended many years ago. I used to have tinnitus, see. So I did this regular treatment, okay, and it's called beating the heavenly drum. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
It sounds simple. You might think, how on earth can that help? But put my heart in my hand, and it solved my tinnitus. This lady a few months ago she said, Malik, and I showed her what to do. Very simple. Hands there, onto the ear. I said, whatever. And then A month later, she called me up. She said, Malik, you wouldn't believe it. I swear to God, I'm not telling a lie. She said, my tinnitus is gone. She's
Oh,
had
wow.
it for God knows how many years. No joke. No joke. I mean, so there's something in their language, stroke their culture, stroke their philosophy
Yeah.
that work that's helpful, useful, and really a gift to all mankind.
Yeah.
And you know, you always get some good and bad in any sort of society, and we'll pick on and the way people do so. They pick on, they'll find some fault with them and say, oh, they're all bad, and but yeah, there's a lot of goodness that's come from there. So yeah, well, qigong's amazing, and yeah, so it helped her, and it helped
Wonderful.
me.
Wonderful. That's, yeah, I know a lot of acupuncturists struggle with treating that condition. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
So I think we're about ready to wrap up here.
great.
Just let's plug a little more information here about your practice. So you are located in Retford, England, correct?
Yes,
Which is somewhat in the northern part of the country.
yeah, and in the county of Nottinghamshire,
Okay.
um, which is famous for Robin Hood.
Yes.
Hurrah, Robin Hood!
Everyone knows that one.
Yeah, steal from the rich and give to the poor. That's what we try to do.
I love it. So we'll have a link to your website and some more information, and hopefully everybody enjoyed this here today. And absolutely reach out to Malik if have any further questions about all the wonderful things that he offers as an expert in TCM.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, and I hope one day to visit your clinic. I know you've got fantastic reputation there, and fantastic skill set. So I look forward next time I go to Disneyland, and I'll pop off to your place, not too far from there, hopefully.
I'd love that. And
Brilliant.
thanks for the kind words. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Pleasure.